it is the decade of the Montreal Canadiens, and it's becoming more and more impressive as the years go on. See, Montreal leads the league in points with 93, and yeah, from there on, it's just everybody else trying to keep up. 43 wins, 17 losses, and 10 ties for the 1957-58 Montreal Canadiens. The New York Rangers, 32, 25, and 13. That's right, they've returned from the dead. The Rangers have, and they look like they might go somewhere. The Detroit Red Wings, after trading out Ted Lindsay and basically gutting their roster on some level, 29, 29, and 12. The Boston Bruins, 27, 18, and 15. The Chicago Blackhawks are getting better, but it's slow. 24, 29, or 24, 39, and 7. And then the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are starting to turn the corner, even though the standings don't show it, 21, 38, and 11. The NHLPA. Here we go. So in last season, yesterday's video, Ted Lindsay forms the NHLPA, and he's the first president. The owners don't recognize the union. The owners are like, yeah, you're not a union. Nope. No, we don't agree to that. But in order to try to make the union go away, they agree to a base salary of $7,000. They're like, here, we'll just put in a base salary, a little bit of protection for you guys, no union. Don't like it. And as a good faith gesture, they now decide that if you're hurt as a player and you can't skate, you can decide you can't skate rather than the team. Up until this season, a team decides whether you skate or not. They don't care if you say your ankle's broke. They look at an x-ray and go, let's find us. You're out there. So, again, the NHL kind of behind the times with safety. And I'm really glad they got over that. October 19th of 1957, in the midst of all of this, Rocket Richard reaches 500 goals. He's the first player to get there. And when you look at Rocket Richard's career totals of 544 goals and 422 assists, and 82 goals in the playoffs and 44 assists, if he played today, everybody talk about how selfish he was. But hey, it's Rocket Richard. The man's a legend in Montreal, and he was the first 50-goal scorer. He was the first 500-goal scorer in NHL history. January 18th, 1958, of course, finally inducted into the Hall of Fame, Willie O'Ree, who breaks the color barrier as the first black man to skate in an NHL game. He doesn't skate in a lot, and there's some historical debate about whether or not he should have been in the NHL more than he was, and if maybe color played a role in that, but the feel-good story is he does make his debut, and he is in the Hall of Fame right now. So that makes good on some stuff here. Hart Trophy still goes to Gordie Howe of Detroit, even though the Art Ross goes to Dickie Moore of the Montreal Canadiens. The intimidating part with the Montreal Canadiens is, even as Maurice Richard's starting to get injured and starting to break down, now they got Henri Richard, and who's the pocket rocket, and they've got all these other kids coming in who are playing pretty darn well, and this dynasty just keeps getting stronger. On the Norris Trophy front, it's still Doug Harvey's. Montreal defenseman Doug Harvey, a machine with Norris trophies. Calder Trophy goes to Frank Mahovlich of the Toronto Maple Leafs. We'll be talking about him soon. Frank Mahovlich, a legend in Toronto circles. Fantastic player. And, we'll be seeing him again really, really soon. Jacques Plante wins the Vezina with Montreal because they allowed the fewest goals and scored the most. They scored 250 goals that year, which was a record at the time. The Lady Byng goes to Camille Henry of the New York Rangers. So there you go. There's trophy winners. How'd the playoffs turn out? Kind of like a steamroll if you look at the Montreal-Detroit series. Montreal wins 8-1 against Detroit. Detroit must come out and go, now listen, we won 7-0 in a game 1 against Boston. We lost that series. So maybe game 2, no. 5-1 Montreal in game 2. Game 3, they're at home. All right, we can do this. Nope, Montreal wins it in overtime 2-1. They're down 3-0. They're like, all right, well, it wasn't that long ago that we were up 3-0 on Toronto, and Toronto came back and won 4 in a row. No. Montreal wins 4-3 in game 4, sweeps Detroit. The Rangers then play Boston. Now remember, the Rangers are the number 2 team. Boston is number 4. Home ice belongs to the New York Rangers. So what happens? A Rangers schedule. The Rangers win game 1 5-3. Boston wins game 2 in overtime 4-3. The next 4 games are in Boston. 4. Meaning circus? Probably. 5-0 Boston, 5-2 Rangers in Game 4. Then Boston just destroys them. 6-1 in Game 5, 8-2 in Game 6. 8-2. That's a slaughter. If one of those two games was in New York, who knows how this series might end up. Especially considering the Rangers were supposed to have home ice. But Boston takes him out, which means Boston plays Montreal. Boston-Montreal is a bad matchup for Boston. Generally speaking, it's a bad matchup. When Boston's 27, 28, and 15 and Montreal is 43, 17, and 10, it's a bad matchup. But Boston, got to admit, showed a lot of heart in this series. Because they could have rolled over, but they didn't. They lose Game 1, 2-1. They win Game 2 in Montreal, 5-2. They lose at home in Game 3, 3-0. Again, they could roll over. They don't. They win Game 4, 3-1. They lost in Montreal in overtime 3-2, and then at home they lost against Montreal 5-3. The Montreal Canadiens win the Stanley Cup again. It's a third straight. And they're not done yet. And again, this is while Maurice Richard is on his way down. He's on his way out of the league. He's only got 2 years left and then he's done. And Montreal, not done. He doesn't play any role at all in 1959. He plays a minor role in 1960. And that's where his career ends. But what a legendary career he's built. And what a legendary team he's leading. The Montreal Canadiens at the top. It's probably going to be a thing for a little while. But you've been brought up to date on 57-58 and on the start of a fight that still continues to this day. It's kind of sad that 60 years later and owners and union, it's still a contentious relationship. It seems all nice and fine until the collective bargaining agreement's coming up and then the arguments begin. And the mistrust started way before that. But hey, that's another conversation for another time. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comments section below. Your comments on it are always welcome. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.